What's up, guys? Welcome to another week and another episode. This is a video and an audio podcast, and I have a special treat for you today. For you guys that have never been to our live events, what I'm going to do is bring you inside of our live event. This first podcast episode is going to be my keynote. So every live event, I walk in and I do a keynote about something on my mind, something that my group needs to hear, and I thought it'd be valuable for you too. This one is on wealth. And as you'll understand and see, I go through how to become wealthy, people I think are wealthy, and the mindset required. And I think mindset is the key word here, because what we've recognized and what I've recognized about wealth is that wealth isn't just a number. It's about money, it's about cash. Wealth is a mindset. And so you don't get rich, you don't get wealthy, you become that person. And so I hope you enjoy this episode. It is real, it is raw, and for you guys that have never been to a live event, it gives you a little insight into what we do here. So if you find this interesting at all, please send me a DM on Instagram. Tell me what you liked about it, and I hope to see you at our next event. This is the wealth event, and I got my cool jacket. And this is where I want to start. I told you I was going to talk about what I want my kids to know about wealth, what I want them to know about money. But it actually starts back when I graduated Cairo School in 2012. Has anybody seen the new John Hamm show on Apple TV? What is it? My Friends, My Neighbors, something? What is it? Friends and Neighbors. So anyone see it? So it takes place in a suburb of New York, right outside of New York City. And it's a bunch of wealthy Wall Street doctors, dentists, lawyers, hedge fund people, whatever, that whole crew. Every house is bigger than the next. Everyone joins a private country club. I mean, it's just like stereotypical, like rich people town. When I graduated chiropractic school, about 20 minutes from here, there's a town called Westfield, New Jersey, which if you think 170 in Bridgewater is a lot of household income, wait till you go there. It is basically that town in the John Hamm show, just on the New Jersey side. And that was where I got my first job. And so a few weeks in, I hadn't had any patients yet. And my boss told me that one of her old patients, Bob, had called, and that Bob was going to come in for an appointment, and he was a really nice guy, cool guy, and he was really good seeing the new guy here, so I was going to see Bob. And she said, just so you know, he's like really super wealthy, super wealthy. And so I didn't know anything. I was 26 years old at that time, and I just graduated, like many of you. Some people here, we have students in here. Who's a student? A couple of people that haven't graduated yet or about to graduate. Anyone? No students in here? Do we not have any students in here? I thought we did. People hadn't graduated? Or are they just not raising their hand? But I didn't know anything from anything. I thought that I had certain ideas of what I thought wealth was and what it could be. But I wasn't really sure. But she said, this guy's really wealthy. And Bob came in. So about the third visit, I started to get friendly with him. Bob was a really nice guy, like good guy. And he would just lay on the table and I would do, I don't even know what, nothing really, to be honest with you. We just kind of stretch his hips out, I think, kind of ish, sort of. And on the third visit, I said to him, I knew he was from Long Island, and I said, Bob, just turned around to make small talk. I said, Bob, what do you think about the New York Islanders moving? And he looked up at me, he goes, oh, I didn't tell you? I said, tell me what? I used to own them. I was like, okay, I used to own them. So I was like, okay, this guy's got some money here. Interesting. Data point number one. Around that time, Bob was a good Jewish man. His son was having a bar mitzvah. And I asked him what he was planning to do for his son Brett's bar mitzvah. He told me, oh, nothing, not too big of a deal. And I said, after the bar mitzvah, I said, how was the party? Oh, yeah, great. We had a great time, yada, yada. Well, I found out later, the special guest at the bar mitzvah was Shaquille O'Neal. It's like, okay, this guy's got some money. A few weeks after that, his friend Perry became a patient of mine too, and Perry never stopped talking. So I knew more about Bob from Perry than from Bob. And I said, and he said to me, he said, you know, Bob's got a ton of money. The guy is loaded. I'm like, okay. He goes, did I ever tell you about the NBA finals? I said, no. He said a few years ago when the Celtics were in the finals, he's like, I'm from New England. So he said, we should go watch them. He's like, I can get really good tickets. He's like, so we were going to fly in that day. The game was at 8 o'clock. The plane left at 2, and we were going to fly in, go see the game, and fly back. And he's like, I had to go to the city that day for work. This is Perry talking. And I was going to come back, and I was going to meet Bob. We were going to go to the airport, and we were going to go fly out. He's like, I caught him at work, and then there was traffic. And so I call Bob in a panic. Bob, I don't think I'm going to get there. Just go without me. Like, everything is good. Like, you're fine. He's like, I'm so upset. He goes, Perry, stop. He goes, what do you mean stop? He goes, I want to go to this game. Like, you got these tickets. He goes, stop. He's like, what do you mean stop? He goes, the plane's not going to leave. He's like, what do you mean the plane's not going to leave? He goes, the plane leaves when I tell it to. It's my plane. So that's how much money Bob had. And I thought Bob was wealthy. And I was like, that was great. However, over time, I got to know Bob. And I asked Bob, I said, Bob, like, what do you do over the summer? He goes, well, I got the house to myself. Well, why? He said, well, my wife goes to the beach and she stays at the beach the whole summer. I'm like, oh, that sounds nice. He goes, yeah, it is nice because we do a lot better when we're apart. I'm like, okay. And I said, well, your family, you got 2 older kids and you got a son now. I know, like, do they meet you at the beach? And he goes, yeah. He goes, about that. He goes, my daughters, they were older and they were here before I had a lot of money. And my son has grown up a rich kid. And my daughters resent my son. And they're actually mad at me because I didn't have the ability to give them what I have given to my son. And so they don't really talk to me. This guy's got all this money. He's got his own plane. His daughters don't talk to him. His son's an asshole. And now what? And it was at that time I started to think that was there a difference between having money and potentially having wealth? And so I started to explore it. And what I realized, what I'm going to share with you, is that potentially being wealthy actually has nothing to do with money. So when I started this journey, I started to look, as I always do, well, not now as I always do, I just go to ChatGPT and I try to find some quotes, some people that are smarter than me who talk about wealth and what they say about wealth. And I just asked ChatGPT, I said, Ellis, that's my bot's name, you'll hear a lot from Ellis this weekend. I said, Ellis, what is wealth? What is wealth? I said, give me some quotes from some famous people. What is wealth? Got you, Justin. Thanks, bro. Henry David Thoreau, wealth. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. Wealth is the ability to fully experience life. Interesting. Nothing about actual money, cash. Nothing about that. Nothing about anything on this silly jacket. $39.99 on Amazon. I don't know who this person is, but apparently she's famous. Being rich is having money, but being wealthy is having time. Okay, so interesting. Rich is about money, but wealth is having time. I thought wealth was Bob. Bob had money, but no, okay, that didn't seem to work out, so that's not that. Wealth consists of not having great possessions, but having fewer wants. Okay, interesting. Stoic philosophy. You aren't wealthy until you have something money can't buy. From the other Stoic philosopher, Garth Brooks. And finally, wealth is the ability to say no. I love this one, by the way. I can't tell you how many chiros that I talk to who are ethical and do this and that and the other, and then they say, but should I just get in the quick adjustment because I need the money? Well, they're obviously not wealthy because they don't have the ability to say no to do something that is unethical to them or they don't want to do. Interesting, interesting. But my favorite one, I think, of all time is from Morgan Housel, who wrote The Psychology of Money. He says, wealth is very, very simple. It is simply the difference between what you have and what you want. Whatever the gap is, the bigger the gap, the less wealthy you are. The bigger the gap, the less wealthy you are. And so wealth is the difference between what you currently have and what you want. And so now we realize that we're not talking about getting rich. We're talking about getting wealthy. And they're not the same thing. Because we know that many people are rich on paper, but bankrupt in how they feel. And if we go back to Bob, Bob was bankrupt in how he felt. He had a lot of money. But he was bankrupt in how he felt. The money was irrelevant. And so after going through all of those quotes, and after seeing what some famous people would say about wealth, what I started to think about is, who do I know in my life, based on all the things that I've learned about it, that are wealthy? And so if it's okay, I want to tell you about 3 people that I know who are wealthy but they don't even know it. So this is Angie. Anyone know Angie? Angie was supposed to be here. Angie was supposed to be here. I got a frantic message saying, oh my God, I got sick last week. And like she always does, like a paragraph. Oh my God, don't hate me. I can't come. I'm supposed to come. I got a message. I got sick and I have to come, but I'm moving this week and I can't come. I'm like, Angie, I respond with, that sucks. I was going to talk about you. I hope it's good. So Angie was one of the first probably 20 people that ever took ChiroBiz 101. And at the time, like you guys, when you get into practice and you look at your ideal client and your avatar, you have no clue, right? You don't know who you're getting. You think that they're people that are coming practice, they need help, they're this, that, and the other, but you don't have a clue. So I get on a call with Angie. Angie's in her car, pulled over to the side of the road, and I said, like, hi. What are you doing in your car? Like, what's going on? She says, oh, I'm commuting from work. I said, where are you commuting? She goes, I live in Rhode Island and I'm going to Massachusetts because I have a job in Massachusetts, 45 minutes away. I work for a chiropractor. I said, okay, well, I teach a business course for people that are in business and business owners. So what the fuck are we doing here? I didn't say that, but that's what I was thinking because I didn't know any better. And so I just started asking questions. I said, well, can I ask why, this is a course for people that are in business, that are trying to grow their business, and you are an associate just kind of driving and adjusting patients and coming home. So, what's going on? And she said, well, I'm going to open up. I said, oh, like next week? She goes, no, in 7 months. I was like, so why are you here? 7 months from now. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I looked at her like she was crazy. And she looked back at me and I looked back at her and I was like, what's going on? I was the crazy one because I didn't know something that she knew that she taught me. She looked at me and she said, well, I've never opened a business before. I've been in practice for like less than a year, and I know I want to open this, and I don't want to be successful, but why would I go and do it before I actually learn how to do it? Why would I go into business without understanding what I'm doing? It seems like starting today is the best solution for me, to learn business first rather than failing and then calling you. That seems like a good idea, doesn't it? It's like, yeah, that actually sounds kind of reasonable. I wish I would have done that. And she said, I have some money saved. And she said, I heard your podcast. When I heard your podcast, I was like, I have to call. I need to be there. Everything you're saying resonates with me. I need to be here. And she joined ChiroBiz 101 7 months before she opened her doors. And it was in that moment she taught me the first lesson of people that are wealthy. Is that the thing that wealthy people do is they start before they're ready. You see, Angie was wealthy and didn't know it because it wasn't about the money, but she realized that she was going to start before she was ready. When I open, then I'll start. No, but I didn't know that. She knew that. So the first lesson, all you should write down is wealthy people start before they're ready. Wealthy people start before they're ready. The next one. You like this picture, Kaylee? Is it a good one? Would you have chosen it? I always decide if I want to embarrass her or like do something decent, so I picked some decent stuff. So about a couple years ago, I did a talk for Northwestern. Is that what it's called? Northwest Chiro School. And I get an email a couple weeks later that said, hi, I'd like to talk to you. I want to do an internship. I'm in Minnesota. I'm like, I don't know who this crazy person is, but I'll entertain it. So I get on a Zoom call and it's Kaylee, and she says to me, she's like, I'm trying to get an internship for the end of my chiro school, but no one will accept me. And my first thought is, like, she must be fucking crazy. Like, why? Well, this doesn't seem that difficult. So I keep talking to her, I'm talking to her, and I'm like, she sounds like reasonable. Why? I don't understand. Like, this is New Jersey. She can't find anything. Like, what's going on? And after we kind of finished talking, she's like, well, can I like come and do the internship? And what did I say to you? I said, you don't seem like an asshole, so this seems like what will work. So if you want to come, just, yeah, sure. And so Kaylee picks up her husband, Dakota, who's here, dog, they own a house, they're at school, and she just drives across the country. She finds a place to live in New Brunswick in a house with I don't even know, guy, with a cat, a guy, pissing, I don't know what the hell's going on. And she interns with us. And with a few months into the internship, I'm like, all right, there's something here. She's kind of good. I think we should try to keep her. And so then Justin goes into full-blown sales mode. I told her last week how I actually got her to stay that she didn't know. It was actually at a live event where I told a story about someone that should find their people, and our people were here, and she didn't know that. She knows it now, but that's what got her to stay. Anyway, we got towards the end, and I wanted her to come on. I didn't have room for her. We weren't going to grow. This was like kind of fell in our lap. But I knew that we needed to have her here. And so we had decided that she was going to be here. And so I had to go and present her an offer and a contract. And so we had a meeting. We were supposed to meet at Starbucks, but Starbucks was closed. So we ended up meeting in the fucking supermarket. True story. True story. And so I sit down and I do everything I tell you guys. I prepared, like I said, here, like I'm thinking out what the offer is going to be and what if she says this and what if the objection is this and what about if she says no and how's she going to handle it. I got my whole song and dance. And so I sit there and I was like, Kaylee, I think you're great. We can provide an opportunity for you. It might not be as much as you're looking for, but blah, 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 blah. And I kept talking. And she just sat there. And she just sat there, kind of like she is now. There's a smile on her face. She's like, and I presented the offer and I finally stopped talking. And I don't remember if she actually said, like, are you done? But that was what she was thinking. And then the next thing she said to me, she smiled and she goes, I would have stayed for free. But it was in that moment that I knew, I would find out later that Kaylee was wealthy. She didn't have any money. She was a student. Fucking money. But the thing that Kaylee had in that moment was she had enough. She had enough. It wasn't about the money. The bank account was empty, but she had enough. And so we talked about Angie, who started before she was ready, and we talked about Kaylee, who had enough. The third person, who's here, but don't look at her because she doesn't like to be up front, so just close your eyes, is my wife. Because I knew that about thinking about building this PowerPoint slide out, I'm thinking, all right, what does wealthy actually mean? Well, the first one, start before you're ready. Yeah, Angie, she's got that. Kaylee, she has enough. And then I started to think, well, what else could it be? And that's my wife. And my wife, Dell, she doesn't want to be in the spotlight. She doesn't want to be up front. She doesn't want anyone to know she exists most of the time. My wife is an OT by trade. So she went occupational therapist. And she graduated a few years ago. And once she graduated school, and anytime we would go somewhere and we'd be around strangers or sometimes people like around here, she would say, oh, what do you do? I'm an OT. Oh, Justin, you're a chiro. Are you guys going to go into business together? She would just, what? Business? No. What? And she would just look at them and laugh. She's like, oh, well, why not? She's like, that's not my thing. That's his thing. She never had the competition. She never had to do anything other than what she wanted to do. She never needed to compete. She never needed to have the spotlight. She never needed to do anything other than do her. Because the thing that Dell has, that wealthy people have, is that Dell is enough. And so if Angie started before she was ready, and Kaylee has enough, Dell knows that she is enough. And so if you ask yourself those three questions, will I start before I'm ready? Whatever it is. The right time, never. And you ask yourself, do I have enough? That isn't about the money in your bank account. And if you look in the mirror every morning, you look at yourself and you say, am I enough? If you have those three things, you are wealthy. And a funny thing happens when you have those three things. That green stuff tends to follow. And what I've realized after doing all of this for as long as I've done it and after studying it and reading and talking to mentors and everyone, money, people all over the place, what I've realized is that wealth isn't something you get. Wealth is something you get. Wealth is something you get. It is something you realize. And so to go another level deep, I want to talk to you guys very specifically, in my opinion, in my view, of what wealth actually looks like. What does wealth look like when you see it in the flesh? Because I've realized that Bob wasn't wealthy, he was rich. But what does it actually look like? Well, wealthy people are scared. People that are wealthy are scared. They have fear every day. And when you're scared, what do? You pee down your leg. But you know what wealthy people do? They do it with pee down their leg. Everyone's fucking scared. Everyone here. This is scary being up here. I do it anyway. Fear of rejection, fine. That's great. I don't care. Do it anyway. Wealthy people do it anyway because fear is peeing down your leg, but wealth, do it with pee down your leg. That's what wealthy people do. And you're probably asking, how do I become wealthy? Well, here's how. Number one, you have to lead. You have to become that person first. If you think that you will be wealthy once the money comes in, you're wrong. It isn't going to happen. You have to become that person. You need to become the wealthy person. You need to think like a wealthy person because when you think like it, then you can be that person. If you think one day an amount of money will come into your bank account and you will become wealthy, you're fucking wrong. How do I know? Have you ever read statistics on people that win the lottery? They are not wealthy. As quickly as they get it, it goes out the other side because they are not wealthy. They are rich for a very short period of time. Number two, there's not one person I know who is wealthy who doesn't invest in themselves first. The S&P and me. Coca-Cola stock, Apple stock, Xerox, that's fine. People that are wealthy put them first because you are the asset. I own 3 properties. I own my house, I own my office, and I own a rental. Those motherfuckers could burn down tomorrow. You know who'd be fine? Me, because I'm the asset. It ain't the fucking house. It ain't the toilet. That shit can go away tomorrow. It doesn't matter. Give it all back. I'll trade it like this. I don't care. Invest in you. And for some of you, the most challenging people you have in your life are your mentors, are your family members who are wealthy, that are corporate people. Invest in retirement, invest in this. I'm not saying don't do it, but they are not entrepreneurs. They are not business owners. Your number one wealth building tool for every person in this room is you. You. Not a property, not crypto, you. You invest in you. And every fucking minute you spend thinking about what else you can invest in other than the one that stares you back in the mirror, you are losing money. I promise you, you're losing money. And number 3, Cam talked about it. Wealthy people never, ever, ever, ever let anyone carry their dreams for them. Could you imagine? There's one of 2 reactions. I'm an asshole because I'm going to put that on his wife to decide on his future that he wants. How's that going to end up? I got to ask my spouse. Does your spouse know that you have a burning desire to not fucking die in a clinic adjusting 85 patients a day or treating 17 people and taking insurance? Do they understand how fucking miserable you are? Yeah, they know. So what are they going to say? No? Be miserable? What are we talking about? If you punt your dreams to your spouse or your friend or your team, like, you're wrong. Wealthy people never allow that to happen. Dell is wealthy because she realized, she's like, do you, dude. You got it. Let me know if you need anything. I'm not making that decision for you. And I talk to some people here, I have to ask my spouse, well, if they say no, then what? How's that going to go? You're going to resent them now? 20 years later, my husband still says no, my wife still says no. Are you kidding me? That's where we're going to live? You believe that that pattern in your life is going to pay dividends. When has that worked for you? Never. And when will it work for you? Never. So if you become wealthy first, number 1, and if you choose to invest in you and you never ever let anyone carry your dreams, you have a chance to be wealthy. Because if you can do all of that, you can get above the fucking bullshit. Because you know what wealthy people do? They don't deal with the bullshit. They don't deal with $2 problems. They don't deal with $2 mindset. They don't deal with Twitter. They don't deal with X. They don't deal with politics because they get above it. They don't need to deal with it. You're fighting the wrong fights. Wealthy people don't have time. They don't have energy. They devote it to the right things. And so the goal for all of us is just get above it at every step of the way. And so what I did, to talk about wealth, started by saying, see how I got through this one. I wrote a letter to my kids because I said I would want them to know about wealth. Is it okay if I share it? I would do it anyway. But you guys are all wealthy, so I trust you. Whew. All right, here we go. Dear Layla and Aiden, you're already enough. You don't need to prove it. Not to me, not to the world, not to anyone. The world will tell you that more is better. More money, more titles, more likes, more attention. And sometimes you might believe it. But the truth is that I want you to hold close for the rest of your life that wealth isn't something you chase, it's something you realize. It's not found in things, it's found in who you become. There will be moments when you feel fear, and that's normal. But courage means you move anyway. It means you show up scared and lead from the front. Don't wait until you're ready. Don't wait for the stars to align or for someone else to believe in you first. Go before you're ready, and never go alone. Don't believe the myth that you're supposed to figure it out all by yourself. Get help. Ask questions. Buy speed. Surround yourself with people who lift you up and challenge you. People who love you enough to tell you the truth. And please, don't let the loudest voice in your head be doubt. The world will try to tell you why you can't, why you shouldn't, why now is not the time. Because most of the world is normal. And normal pulls you back to where it's safe, where it's small, where it's stuck. But you're not meant to stay there. You have to resist the gravity. Not once, but every single day. And that resistance, that's where real wealth is born. As your dad, I will invest in you. Emotionally, financially, and in every way I know how. But that won't be enough. This only works if one day that torch is passed. And you decide to invest in yourself. I already know you're worth it. But I need you to believe it too. And if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. You're going to hear a lot about how to get wealthy. People will talk about stocks, real estate, crypto, whatever the next big thing is. They'll teach you how to chase returns. But almost no one will tell you to invest in the one asset that matters most. You. Not a number, not a strategy, not a trend. You are the asset. And the sooner you believe that, the sooner real wealth will find you. I wrote this talk for you. Every slide, every story, every word. It was meant for Layla and Aiden. But the truth is, it was for everyone in this room. Because whether you're 3 months, 3 years, or 35, we all wrestle with the same question. Am I enough? Is it too late? Do I really have what it takes? The answer? Yes. You are enough. No, it's not too late. And yes, you do have what it takes. The principles never change. Not at 3 months, not at 3 decades. Wealth isn't reserved for the few. It's available to the willing. And someday, when you look back, when the house is loud, or quiet, or messy, or full of life, when your hands are tired and your heart is full, I hope you remember this. You weren't behind. You weren't waiting for it to start. You were living it. Right in the middle of it. One day, you'll hear people reminiscing about the past, about the early days of business or when the kids were small, and they'll say, those were the good old days. But that means something. It means today, right now, it's part of the good old days too. So rather than romanticize the past, romanticize the right now. Because today, with all its chaos, its pressure, and its beauty, you are living in the good old days. Love, Dad. So this letter was for Layla and Aiden, but to be honest, it was for everyone here. We all forget we're enough. We forget we're not behind. We forget the real wealth isn't money, but it's your identity, it's your direction, and it's courage. So if you take anything from today, not just in your notebook, but the decisions that you're going to make, understand that wealth isn't a someday thing. It's right now. So go live like you're wealthy, because every single one of you is. Thank you.